Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
On July 20th, 1969, humans walked on the surface of the moon for the very first time. Black and white images of the moon's surface flashed on television screens everywhere. The whole world was watching. Let's journey back to that time for a first-hand account of that historic event.
This is Jane Wilson reporting live from the Mission Control Center in Houston. As you know, 4 days ago on July 16th, the Apollo mission lifted off from Cape Canaveral, Florida. The 3 astronauts on board have traveled 240,000 miles to the moon. In just minutes, they will attempt the first moon landing. Their spacecraft has separated into 2 parts, the Command Module Columbia and the Lunar Module Eagle. Columbia is piloted by Mike Collins. It will orbit the moon, while Eagle, piloted by Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, make the historic landing. Let's go to Pete Brooks in the studio for a historical perspective.
Thanks, Jane. I'm here with Dr. Vargas, an expert on the history of the United States space program. Dr. Vargas, why is this mission so important?
For many years, Pete, the United States competed with Russia to have the best space program. It all started on October 4th, 1957, when the Russians launched Sputnik, the first satellite. Then on April 12, 1961, Yuri Gagarin, a Soviet cosmonaut, became the first person in space.
What turned things around for the USA?
In 1961, President Kennedy challenged us to put a person on the moon by 1970. Today, the world is witnessing our effort to fulfill the challenge.
Thank you, Dr. Vargas. Now, let's go back to Mission Control and Jane Wilson. Jane, are you there?
I am, Pete. The command center at Houston is a huge room filled with workstations. At many of these stations, mission control experts monitor important data coming from the Apollo 11. You can feel the tension in this room right now. I'm standing with some very special visitors. With me, astronaut Mike Collins' wife, Emma, and their 2 children, Todd and Amanda. We are joined by 2 mission control experts. Can you tell us what is happening now?
We're standing in our communications area. This is where we monitor the instruments on Columbia and Eagle.
Wow, I've never seen so many computers in one place.
If you think these are impressive, you should see the Columbia Command Module. That's where your dad is now. Behind the Command Module is a service module. That's the part of the ship that holds fuel, oxygen, and navigational equipment.
We're really proud of our dad. Would you like to speak to him now? We have Columbia on our radio. Here, say hello.
Hi, Dad.
Hi, Dad.
Hi, kids.
I wish we had a telescope that could let us see him.
The most powerful telescope in the world couldn't see something as small as the Columbia. It's too far away.
Your mom's right. Think of how far away your father is. His rocket goes 24,000 miles per hour, and it still took him 2 days to get to the moon.
My dad went 24,000 miles per hour?
That's right. And do you know why? There's no air and very little gravity in space, so you can travel very fast. Newton's first law of motion states that once you are moving, you won't stop or change direction unless a force acts on you. In a car, friction with the ground constantly slows you down. In an airplane, air resistance works against forward motion. But in space, there's nothing to stop you.
But because there's air and gravity on Earth, it took tons of fuel to lift off, right?
Right. Remember the rocket that launched this mission had 3 stages. The first stage had 7.5 million pounds of thrust. That's a lot of power. The rocket pushed off the ground on a jet of superheated gas. The second stage needed less than half of the power. Because the rocket was lighter after all that fuel burned off, the third stage was the smallest, even though it carried the astronauts the farthest.
But if there's no air to push against in space, how does the rocket move forward?
Good question. That's Newton's second law of motion. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. When the exhaust gases leave the rocket. They push back and the rocket moves forward. On liftoff, the force of the exhaust gases moving down propels the rocket in the opposite direction, up with the same force.
Dad, are you still there? What did it feel like during liftoff? We were 3 miles away and we felt the ground shake.
Well, it squashed us in our seats until we could barely breathe. It added G's, or gravitational forces. Right now, Amanda, you feel 1 G. On liftoff, we felt 3 G's. It was like being at the bottom curve of a roller coaster.
Cool.
You need all the thrust at liftoff because the rocket is so heavy.
But it weighs almost nothing in space, right?
If your dad wanted to, he could push the ship with his hands.
That's pretty amazing, isn't it, Amanda?
Mom, didn't you say Buzz and Neil won't weigh much on the moon?
Yes, I did, Amanda.
Your mom's right. Another one of Newton's law says that gravity attracts all masses to one another. And the greater the mass, the greater the gravity. The moon's mass is about 1/6 of the gravity of Earth. On Earth, the 2 astronauts who will walk on the moon each weigh 360 pounds with their spacesuits on. On the moon, they weigh 60...
I'm sorry, but I have to interrupt you now. We have the lunar module on the line. Neil, what is your status?
We're approaching the landing site. It looks pretty rocky. I'll keep moving to see if I can find another spot.
This is Jane Wilson reporting. From those who have just joined us, we are here live at the Mission Control Center in Houston. Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin are about to touch down on the moon in a lunar module. In just moments, if it all goes well, they will step into the vacuum of space, relying on their spacesuits to protect them from the harsh conditions. In case you are wondering, the moon can be a scorching 243 degrees during the lunar day, and a frigid 279 degrees below zero during the lunar night.
Eagle, this is Mission Control. You'll have to sit down soon. You're low on fuel.
Roger, Mission Control. We have found a landing spot.
There's absolute quiet here at the Mission Control Center as everyone waits.
Mission Control, this is Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
There you have it. The Eagle has landed. Those are the words of Neil Armstrong, the first words spoken from the moon. The lunar module has just landed on the Sea of Tranquility, one of the dark areas on the moon that is visible from Earth. The astronauts will now prepare their life support units for the first moonwalk.
Amanda, the life support units have oxygen tanks, water, and all the radio equipment in big backpacks.
I know, and Dad told me the spacesuits cost more than $1 million each.
The sun filters on their helmets are made of gold foil. On Earth, the atmosphere blocks most of the sun rays, but on the moon, the sun would burn your skin in a few seconds. The spacesuits also keep the astronauts at the right temperature.
You've been teaching them everything, haven't you, Mrs. Collins?
Well, this is one of the greatest scientific achievements of the century. I want them to remember everything.
I'm ready to open the hatch now. I'm taking out the camera and turning it on.
What you now see on your television screens is live footage from the moon.
Neil will have to jump the last 3 feet to the ground. We had to make the ladder short to save on weight.
I can't believe this is actually happening.
I'm stepping onto the ladder now, down to the bottom step.
The images of Neil Armstrong climbing out of the lunar module are among the most famous in the world. His spacesuit was bulky. His movements were awkward in a low-gravity environment. He stepped cautiously down the ladder, hopped off the end, and landed on the surface of the moon. He said,
"That's one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind."
A few minutes later, Buzz Aldrin joined him.
The astronauts will perform several experiments on the moon. One involves running at full speed and trying to stop in the low-gravity environment. In the vacuum of space, the astronauts must be careful not to tear their spacesuits. The suits recreate the air pressure on Earth, and a loss of pressure could result in injury or death.
This moon dust is strange stuff. In the distance, it looks white, almost blue. And in other places, it seems kind of yellow. Beneath our feet, it's mostly gray. But when I pick it up, it looks brown or black.
The horizon seems much closer here than it does on Earth. But wait, what's that I see coming up just over the hill?
What are you seeing, Eagle?
It's Earth rising like a pale sunrise in the morning. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
For the first time in history, people look at the Earth from the moon. The astronauts placed a plaque near the spot where the Eagle landed. The plaque reads, "Here, men from the planet Earth first set foot upon the moon on July 1969. We came in peace for all mankind."
Scientists have continued to explore outer space. The International Space Station makes it possible for humans to live in orbit for months. The Hubble telescope takes glorious photographs of starlight years away. Probes have photographed the surfaces of almost every planet in the solar system, but no one has ever traveled farther than Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Mike Collins did. Even if we never travel beyond the moon, we will always know we are not bound to Earth. We are truly ambitious explorers of the universe.
Roger, thrust 9820. Copy, flight.